Hey there! I thought it was time for another fountain pen shootout. And I thought that what we would do today is look at two big pens. Now when I say big pens, let me zoom out a little bit. Then I genuinely mean big pens. So here we have a Pilot Metropolitan, a Magna Carta Mag 1000, and a Namiki Emperor. And the reason I wanted to do a comparison between these two pens is that they share something in common, and that is a very, very large nib. So when it comes to nibs, I forgot to take out a number 8 nib. One wonders if I have one in my bag. 1 second, he said, then returned. Very rapidly, everything is under control. So nib sizes. Number 5. Here's a Visconti number 6 nib. Here is an Armando Simoni Club number 8 nib. The numbers, in case you're unfamiliar with the system, refer to the diameter of the shoulders of the nib, so kind of where it's kind of the feet diameter, let's put it that way. And then we have here on this Magna Carta a number 10 nib. And as time progresses, I found there are interesting patterns in the world of fountain pens. Trends, themes, interesting things emerge. When I got into pens, like about 2000, I used pens before that, but seriously got into it, I would say about 2010. The rage was flex nibs. Everybody wanted flex nibs. And then the rage was shimmering inks for a while, and then it was inks with, it was shading inks, and then it became shimmering inks, and now we're going through a stage where everybody wants nibs that are bigger and bigger and bigger. So number 6 used to be a big nib, and then number 8, now a lot of pens, again, you see these number 8 nibs, which are already very big, and then you see these massive nibs, number 10, but they're quite rare. I only know of a couple companies that use them. Strictly speaking, a Montblanc 149. 149, 1 means Meisterstück, the top of the line pens. 4 refers officially to their filling system, which is their telescopic piston, but it's not really telescopic anymore. But anyway, it's a piston filler, and the 9 refers to the size of the nib. So that would be a number 9 nib, but it's pretty much for all intents and purposes a number 8 nib. Some companies, Toma pens in Japan, they make number 10 nibs. And here you have an Namiki Emperor, which has something that is, I would say, approximately number 10. But the problem with Namiki is it uses its own numbering system, so they call this a number 15 nib. The Magna Carta pen would be number 10. As you can see, it looks like it's bigger than even the Namiki Emperor nib. And if you ever held a Namiki Emperor, which you may not have, but you know those are big nibs. This is a huge nib. So I thought we would talk a little bit about that and what you get in both pens. I'm just going to gently post this so that it will not roll away. These are not similar pens. They're not in a similar price class. But the reason I thought it might be interesting to do this comparison anyway is that, as I said, people just want bigger and bigger nibs. Right now it's number 10. I bet you the next step is number 12. It's just going to get bigger and bigger. At some point you reach a natural limit to what is feasible. The Namiki Emperor is the top of the line for Namiki. Namiki is the fancy branch of Pilot, and the Namiki Emperor is a huge pen. It's eyedropper filled. It has a one-way shut-off valve, and it has that really big nib. I'm fairly certain it's an ebonite feet, but I could absolutely be wrong. It does get lacquered, so you get this red that matches the vermilion urushi the pen is covered with. I'm also going to gently post this so that it won't roll. Don't shoot me. There we are. Very large pen, very big nib. Now, a lot of people want a nib of that size. The problem with the Namiki Emperor, I just checked the market price. It's like the fish market price. Currently, a Namiki Emperor. I don't know why I can't find this. I just took the note. Okay. The current market price is $2,100 US. That's what you pay for this pen. That's not what I paid a long time ago, but I mean, they get more and more expensive. This, by the way, is the old model. The new ones are redder. This one is slightly less red, I guess. Come in red and black. Extremely expensive, right? But then you do get the 18 karat nib, and this is a broad that someone ground into something that looks a bit stubbish, and it's beautiful. It has urushi lacquer. Urushi is always expensive. I also don't know why they weren't fully in view, but there we are. You get the gold nib, you get the urushi, you get the fancy eyedropper filling system with a one-way shutoff valve, so you can control wetness a little bit, etc. So it's very interesting. But you may not be willing or able or both to spend that kind of money on this sort of pen, and that's totally understandable. So if you're in the market for a really big nib, but that's bigger, then I could recommend the Magna Carta. Now, don't make no mistake, this is not a $10 pen either. These go for $410 US currently, and this is February 2024 that I'm shooting this. 2024, my God. Anyway, this is a steel nib, and this does not have urushi on it. This is ebonite. It's an ebonite body. It's simple. This is an ebonite body too, but this then got covered with urushi, right? So, ebonite body, simpler finish, does have 24 karat gold plating, PVD coating, which does, in my mind, looks nice. A very vintage look, right? The black with the gold, the shape of the clip, like all these kinds of things. Vintage look. So that's some people like that, some people don't. You do get the really big nib, but here it's steel. You do get a massive ebonite feed, and you only get your pick of fine or medium. Whereas the Emperor has at least medium and broad, and I always forget if there was a fine. No, I think it's King of Pen. Sailor King of Pen doesn't have fine. I think the Emperors do. I hope I'm right about that. $410 is not cheap, but it is not as expensive as $2,100 because that's how math works. Okay, so we have that. Comparison. Well, as to size, I mean, I've really only had these pens stationary. It's really good video, isn't it? When there's nothing moving. I'm sorry, but I just wanted to kind of talk you through it. Size-wise, they're almost identical, right? And you notice the huge nib, huge nib on the Magna Carta. So about the same size. You can eyedropper the Magna Carta. I haven't had the guts yet, but you can. Also has a large ink capacity at that point. If you want a big nib, that's it. Now, which of the two is more comfortable? Because that's what we're here for. The Namiki Emperor posts better than the Magna Carta. Magna Carta is not meant for posting, but why would you post this? Look at how huge it is, right? I'm going to be honest, I find the Emperor a little bit more comfortable. The section, shape, I find a little bit more comfortable than the Magna Carta, and the nib is a little less huge, which makes for a good writing angle. I am not bothered by the writing angle of the Magna Carta, but some people online complain that the nib is so big, it sticks out so far, that they find that the angle is awkward to them. I don't have the world's smallest hands. I haven't had that issue, but I understand why some people would, because it does stick out very far. To me, that's kind of the appeal. Look at the huge size of that nib. Huge nib. Okay, so I kind of like that. There is no real posting with this pen. It's not meant to be posted, and it's a kind of a flimsy post. The cap falls off, but look at how big it is. I don't think anyone really needs to post this. It's also not a gold nib, and that means a little less responsive. It has a slightly different feeling to it, but I do really like writing with this pen. Now, I thought that I would just end this pointless talking and I would just show you the two pens right side by side. And then maybe you can make up sort of your opinion on which of the two you like. Let's start with the Emperor. Because it's a one-way shutoff valve, I like to open that end up a little bit just so that you get a slightly wetter writer. Namiki Emperor. And this, both of them inked up with the same ink, otherwise you can't really compare it, right? This is the Edelstein Star Ruby Red. This would be an 18K nib in, I'm going to call it number 50, because that's their term for it. This is a one-way shut-off valve, and the current street price is a lot. prohibitively expensive. The writing with this pen is phenomenal though. And like I said, this is not how the pen wrote out of the box. I bought it from the great one-man pen show Sarge. It looks like someone ground it into a stub, maybe even ever so slightly oblique. But it's a very, very pleasant writer, and I absolutely love it. So, very, very nice. Very comfortable, especially for such a big pen. They really taper down that section, so I find it really, really comfortable. Very pleasant, very nice pen to use. Even for an everyday writer, for me, it's perfectly comfortable. Then there is the other pen, which is the Magna Carta Mag 1000. This is a steel nib in, oh, sorry, I don't know why I crossed that out, in number 10 millimeter diameter, and that is a massive feed. Look at my little finger, and then this feed, right? Like it's huge. This is cartridge converter or eyedropper. In common parlance, eyedropper ED, but as I was studying, learning about different issues, ED stood for erectile dysfunction, so I tried to avoid that particular abbreviation. And the price of this one is high, but not prohibitive. Relatively speaking. Again, not that. Bit more feedback with this one. But still a very pleasant writer. Does have a little bit of line variation too, I found. A little wider downstroke than sideways. And this too, I love it. I think it's a very pleasant pen. I love the simplicity, the black and gold, the vintage look. I'm not really a vintage pen guy, but it works. It works. Classic, timeless, elegant in my mind. Larger pen. So if you're in the market for something interesting, fun, that I know is not cheap. I'm not saying it's inexpensive. It simply isn't. I'm very aware, but relatively speaking, it's not nearly as bad as this. So if you want to try out a number 10 nib, saving up for this one will go a lot faster than saving up for that one. Both great pens, different price classes. I know that, different markets. I know that, but I just thought it was worth comparing them because of the large nib sizes. And there we are. I hope this was useful. A very kind thank you to Hiren for sending me this pen. I really appreciate it. Both come highly recommended, and both are incredibly fun. So I hope this was useful, and I'll gladly see you later. Bye.